Do you ever find yourself daydreaming about simpler times? Maybe your mind is filled with visions of a beloved family vacation or an epic adventure with your friends. Or maybe you're overcome with a deep longing for a place you've never been and a time you've never lived in, like the Roaring '20s or the disco era of the '70s. Well, it turns out that nostalgia can actually be more than just a pleasant distraction from the everyday. It can also be a powerful cognitive tool. Research shows that nostalgia can help you remember other things more clearly. And today we're going to tell you why that is and why it matters. Hi, and welcome to this channel. First, let's establish that nostalgia is more than just a feeling of longing for the past. Technically speaking, nostalgia is a form of bittersweet longing for a person, place, or thing that is connected to a specific time in the past. But this definition doesn't really do nostalgia justice because the emotion itself is complicated. There are multiple layers to it, and it can mean different things to different people. For some, it might be tied to a particular smell, like freshly cut grass that brings back warm childhood memories. For others, it might be triggered by a song that takes them back to a significant event or period in their lives. Regardless of what triggers your feelings of nostalgia, though research suggests that having these kinds of thoughts can have an effect on how well you remember other things. In a study published in the journal Memory in 2011, researchers explored whether nostalgic thoughts could improve memory. Their hypothesis was that because nostalgic thoughts are so detailed and elaborate, they would require more cognitive resources to mentally process than neutral thoughts. And this increased effort would spill over into other areas of cognition, making it easier to remember things. To test this idea, participants were shown picture pairs and told to make sure they remembered which pictures had previously been paired together. Researchers measured how long it took participants to make these decisions and found that those who experienced more intense feelings of nostalgia while looking at the pictures did better on the memory test than those who didn't. But this is only one piece of the puzzle. Another study published in 2013 dug deeper into the relationship between nostalgia and memory. This time, researchers wanted to determine whether nostalgia would improve memory for both recent and long-ago experiences. They recruited participants with varying levels of nostalgia and showed them a series of pictures and stories that were either recent or long ago. Then they tested the participants' memory of these events. They found that nostalgia significantly improved memory for both recent and long-ago experiences, suggesting that it may not just be a fleeting cognitive boost. Instead, it may be an effective and accessible way of improving memory for a wide range of people. So why does nostalgia seem to improve memory? One leading theory is that nostalgia activates our default mode network, which is a collection of brain regions that become active when our minds wander during introspection. When we feel nostalgic, we tend to focus on the big picture, like how an event made us feel or what we learned from it, rather than on small, superficial details. Because of this, nostalgic thinking may help us create meaningful narratives out of our experiences, which in turn improves our ability to remember them. In other words, nostalgia encourages us to see the forest and the trees, allowing us to remember both the big picture and the small details. What's more, nostalgia may encourage us to think about the past in general, which can have a variety of cognitive benefits. In a study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology in 2015, researchers explored whether inducing feelings of nostalgia would improve working memory. Working memory is our ability to hold and manipulate information in our minds over a short period of time. And it's a key component of our ability to reason and make decisions. Using a computer-based working memory task, researchers found that participants who were instructed to think about their past experiences performed better than those who were asked to think about the present or future. This suggests that nostalgia can help us use our working memory more efficiently, which can improve our ability to stay focused and get things done. Nostalgia isn't just good for our memories, it can also help us learn new things. A study published in the Quarterly Journal of Experimental Psychology in 2016 found that nostalgia enhanced memory for meaningful self-statements such as values and goals, but not for meaningless ones. The researchers suggested that nostalgia motivates us to reflect on what matters most to us, which in turn helps us retain that information. So the next time you find yourself overcome with a wave of nostalgia, don't just let it pass you by. Embrace it. Try to figure out what it is about the past that is calling to you and see if you can learn anything from it. You might be surprised at what you discover. And hey, even if it doesn't lead to any major revelations, it can be fun to daydream a little bit. So go ahead and indulge in that mental time travel. Just be sure to come back to the present when it's time to do something.